Hi, how are my excellent friends today? I thought I would just share a fun story with you today called Eggbert. Now, Eggbert has a little problem. Eggbert is slightly cracked. Now, you know that if you're an egg and you have a crack in you, that's probably not a good thing. But let's see how Eggbert handles that crack, and let's see how he has something that's kind of not so good become a really good thing in his life. Are you ready for Egbert, my excellent friends? Let's see if I can get that better. There we go. Egbert, the Slightly Cracked Egg by Tom Ross and Rex Barron. Egbert, the Slightly Cracked Egg. We are going to be going inside the refrigerator. There once was an egg named Egbert, and he loved to paint beautiful pictures. Egbert's paintings always cheered up the other eggs in the refrigerator. But one day it was discovered that Egbert was slightly cracked. Eggs with cracked shells were not allowed to stay. Sadly, the other eggs told Egbert he would have to leave. Egbert waved goodbye to his old friends. He hunched his shoulders, well, what little shoulders he had, and pressed his shell together so that the crack almost disappeared. Almost. Then he set out to look for a new place to live. All the drawers had labels, but none of them was right for Egbert. He knew he would have to look harder. There had to be some place where he would fit in. Where do you think he could fit in at? Before long, Egbert came to a spot with a beautiful view. If only I could stay here, he thought, and then he had a great idea. No one had to know that he was an egg with a cracked shell. He would paint himself to look like the other things around him, and he would blend right in. So look at that. He's painting some of the bushes on there and part of the buildings. It's almost like you can't see him at all. But just as Egbert was thinking he had found the perfect place, a potato plant happened to notice his crack. Split, the plant ordered. Egbert tried not to be discouraged. Maybe I'll have better luck outdoors, he said to himself. And the only way down was to jump. Yikes. Luckily, Egbert landed in a soft bed of flowers. He had never seen flowers before, but they smelled even better than butter and lettuce. Perhaps this is the perfect place for me, he thought. A dab here, a splotch there. Voila! Egbert was covered with flowers. But late that afternoon, an angry bee discovered that you could not get nectar from an egg. Again, Egbert was told to leave. It was getting dark, and he still had not found a place to live. Just when he was about to give up all hope, a glimmer of something caught his eye. What beautiful little lights, Egbert whispered. With all his might and twice his usual care, he climbed up the fence. Perfect, Egbert said, when he was covered with stars. But the next morning, when the night stars were gone, a cat discovered that Egbert was just an egg with a cracked shell. Scramble! said the cat. Egbert took a hard fall onto the sidewalk. Now he was more cracked than ever. As it started to rain, he began to sob. He realized that no matter how he painted himself, he could not hide who he was. Finally, the rain stopped, and the sun broke through a crack in the clouds. Egbert began to notice something he had never noticed in his whole life. The world was full of cracks, all sorts of wonderful cracks. Maybe it's not such a bad thing to be slightly cracked, he thought. So that crack in the clouds gave him that sunshine. You see the cracks in the dry ground. From then on, Egbert traveled around the world. So the big crack in between two mountains is like a Grand Canyon, making new friends and seeing famous cracked sights. This volcano has a crack that the lava is running down. But he never forgot his friends back home in the fridge, and he painted them beautiful postcards of his travels. They were well and truly amazed, and they missed him, if the truth be told. Have you ever heard of the Liberty Bell? That's a famous bell that has a crack in it. Maybe that's something you could Google with mom or dad or grandpa or grandma today. It's a famous bell with a crack in it. To this day, Egbert does not regret being cracked. In fact, he's even a little proud of it. So, I like to think the lesson from that story is that nobody's perfect, that we all have cracks, and we just have to take those cracks and make them the best cracks that we can. So, I hope you have a fun day, my excellent friends.